Hello Internet, and welcome to my live reaction for Eden Zero, chapter 147. When we last left our heroes, we kind of saw the aftermath of both Homura versus Milani, and Shiki versus the bots. As both the bots and Milani sort of expressed in their own different ways regret at their actions. Milani, we learn, had a sort of grandfather-granddaughter relationship going on with Saika, and is not happy with Shura's current actions. But she does not have the power or the strength, either physically or strength of will, to stand up to Shura, who could very easily kill her. The bots, similarly, we learned that their dogpiling Shiki a couple of chapters ago was an attempt to protect him from the bot's program to self-destruct, by making like a physical wall between Shiki and the blast. So there's a lot of connection going on there. I'm not quite sure. I think the bot storyline worked better than Milani, but we'll still see how Milani gets used going forward, as she is still alive. Anyway, after that, Shiki and Jinn return to the Eden Zero. They see Sister and Hermit both like missing limbs, and Hermit's missing an eye, beat up, utterly defeated by Shura, who is absconded with Witch, setting off Shiki's next mission. So let's jump right on into chapter 147, Rage, Fear, and Grief. And our profile here is of Couchpo, real name Chloe Francoise I, which is news to me. She has a real name now. Powers, she likes to eat. Likes food, uploading videos, dislikes inedible things, attack 1 star, defense 3 stars, marksmanship 1 star, ether power 0 stars, intelligence 5 stars, appetite 5 stars. I would love to see a situation where Couchpo gets to like use her intelligence. I've been watching the anime, and so I've been re-experiencing Gilst, which, given how far Eden Zero has come in the past 100 chapters, kind of brings it to light how much Gilst just doesn't really work for me. And part of that is just like Couchpo is so much better now. I'm thinking of Couchpo only talks about food in the scene where Rebecca escapes the unclothing room. Comparing that Couchpo to like the Couchpo of the beginning of Neuro 66, of like, I'm a part of this crew now and I will stay even if that puts my life at risk. So Couchpo has come a long way as a character. Anyway, popular beekeeper who really just likes to eat. She met Miss Rebecca during the Gilst incident. Now for some reason she is aboard the Eden Zero. I don't have a sense of taste, so I am very envious of her. A nice way of working in the reminder of Pino's desire to be human there as well. Anyway, chapter 147, Rage, Fear, and Grief. And so we open on the Eden Zero, which is still flying, above the wasteland as the battle kind of continues around it. Hermit and Sister are both strapped into like a repair bay, I guess, to kind of fix them. With Couchpo running it, already showing off her 5-star intelligence. Don't worry, none of their injuries are life-threatening, and we can repair their damaged parts. And Shiki is just not even responding to Couchpo, just trembling. Asks Jinn, where did he take Witch? Give me a minute. If I trace her life signature, I can find her. And then Clean comes in on the intercom. Brother, the Eden Zero, did something happen? And Jinn just, like, very curtly, kind of. I'll tell you later. How are you? So I've been commenting that Jinn is sort of, as he's become more a part of the crew, is now focused on characters besides Clean. But we do see here that, like, even amidst the battle, he just asks how Clean is. But anyway, Clean responds, it isn't even a challenge, especially with Laguna Reno's help. And Laguna, also strapped into his drone, his fighter, they're just a bunch of unmanned drones. This is basically target practice. And the two of them are just blowing up Shura's drones left and right. And Shiki, who's not paying attention to any of this, is just in a state of pure rage at Shura, snaps at Jinn. Well, Jinn, I found her. She's right here, inside the dome at this location. Looks like a military facility, and we see it's kind of on the like edge of the dome. So if Shiki, reneges on the earlier idea of not smashing into the dome, he could get there pretty easy. And given Shiki's emotional state right now, he might just. Anyway, based on the fact that he didn't shut off Witch's life signature, I'd say 10-1 it's a trap. And Shiki snaps, I don't care. I'm going to save her. And Jinn tries to stop him. Wait, you can't charge in there without a plan. There's no time. He doesn't give a damn about what happens to bots. But we can't just let you storm through the enemy's front door. Weisz's team is in their basement. You'll be jeopardizing their mission. And Shiki is just, again, pure rage, pure, one-track mind. I'm getting Witch back. You stay here. That's an order. And Jinn just stares at him as Couchpo, again asserting her importance to the team. Oh, Shiki, is that any way to talk to your friends? And that finally gets Shiki to stop, take a second, and look at his outburst. As he just sort of looks down in shame and mutters, I'm sorry. And Couchpo continues, this is hard on all of us, but these are exactly the times we need to stay calm. And Jinn gives him a compromise plan. You meet up with Weisz underground. We'll change the mission to destroying All Link and getting Witch back. Okay. I'll stay here to protect the ship. You okay with that? Again, both kind of showing the development of both Couchpo and Jinn in this chapter. Which again, given that Gilst is both of their intro arcs, the current anime is really putting that into comparison. Couchpo, has gone the first 5 pages of this chapter without mentioning food, which you could not have done during Gilst. Showing both, material intelligence in knowing how to repair Herman and Sister, but also an emotional intelligence of she knows what will break through Shiki's kind of walls right now, and is that how you treat a friend? Because she knows that friends are what Shiki cares most about. And then we see Jinn here, again leaving Clean alone. Not out of not out of a dislike of Clean, of course, but just he cares enough about the crew and trusts Clean enough to know that she's fine on her own. Or fine with Laguna. Again, really great development for both of them. Anyway, you okay with that? And Shiki just dashes away. Yeah, thanks. And Jinn and Couchpo watch him run off as Couchpo sighs. Seeing that side of him makes me a little nervous. And Jinn almost is kind of grinning there. Kids are all like that. No more levity. Time for pain. Witch is bound up, chained where we saw her last week. She wakes up, though, tries to push against her chains and can't do anything. And Shura is just leering in her face. Yo! And Witch just stares him down and asks, where am I? Where are Sister and Hermit? And Shura brushes her off. I knocked him around a little, but they're probably not dead. And she just continues to pull against the chains, and Shura mocks her. Don't bother. Those are anti-ether restraints. You won't be able to use any special powers while you're stuck in those. And then he takes another look at her. But damn, you are one well-made android. And the assistant secretary, Ijuna comes in. ID code Demon King's 4 Shining Stars. Witch. Close associate of Ziggy. She is also known as the Steel Sorceress. And Shura looks at her, Steel? And then just gropes her boob. But she's soft. Fucking Shura. She's almost like a human. I mean, that's not even slightly subtle in our themes of this arc, Mashima. And with that, Shura, using his gravity ether, levitates a knife and just stabs Witch in the arm. Ugh! And we see it's not blood, it's probably oil or something coming out of her arm. Huh. So it feels pain, too. Nice. That's a good little detail with it. Shura does not really see Witch as a life form at all. I'm going to get a lot of fun out of her. And Witch just stares at him. Why are you doing this? What, didn't you know? To beat Ziggy, duh. And Witch just stares him down. Beat Lord Ziggy? Why? You know what he did on Foresta. That was my planet. In fact, all planets in the Aoi Cosmos are my planets. For a second there, I was like, wait a second, is he originally from Foresta? But it's just more Shura's intense sense of entitlement. Anyway, Shura kind of like switches the knife in his hand. You think I can stand by and let him act like he owns my cosmos? A lousy bot like him. And he, levitates he gravities the knife into Witch's side. Ugh! You need to learn not to disobey your human overlords. He says, leering at Witch, as Witch stares him down. We're seeing really, again, the themes of this arc really bashing over our heads. As Witch just will not bow down to him. Anyway, we then cut to somewhere else, as an intercom reads out. The battle in space has reached a stalemate. We estimate the leader of the enemy's main force, Eraser, has paused to recharge his ether. As for the Eden Zero's attack on the dome, we appear to have successfully brought it to a halt. So this is the Empire, obviously. And then this is one of the oceans, the darker skinned one with the heart glasses, whose name was... I don't remember. We'll get to it, I bet. A halt? Then they're not really trying. Obviously, they're just a diversion. Okay, so she's not dumb. She knows what's going on here. One sec, let me, Lyra's her name. Did a quick wiki search for Ocean 6. Lyra knows what's going on. And the guy who's announcing all this to her, who's this, like, rooster-headed dude, yes. And we know that, but we're still playing along. And the rooster questions, why? And Lyra, just like head in her hand, because Shura said he wants to play. Maybe he picked up a new toy. And the rooster just sort of is... there's, I think, a recurring theme that not even the Empire is a big fan of Shura. And we see that Rooster Boy isn't really either. Anyway, some of the just like random desk workers are kind of gossiping. The all-link system goes live in 20 hours. You know the computers are going to flip out too. And Prince Shura wants to play at a critical time like this? Plus he sends us a punk kid to replace our old commander. Why do we have to take orders from a little baby like her? So Lyra, I think, can very clearly hear them. But she just ignores them. This room isn't very cute. What do you say we make it pink? And then some more background workers gossiping. Couldn't he have at least sent a Sir Fabiano? The old oceans were so cool, all rugged and tough. So there's an interesting thing, is that clearly there's been some kind of shift in the oceans. Saika and Fabiano, I believe, are representatives of the older group. But like Milani and Lyra and Nasseh and Callum are all seemingly much more loyal to Shura than Saika and Fabiano are/were, but also are just like younger and they're not really as respected. So I imagine we're gonna get more details into that later, especially because with most Mashima villain groups, things like back in Fairy Tail, the Eurasian Seis, the Seven Kin of Purgatory, the Nine Demon Gates, and all those groups were kind of formed as is, and they only really had like a single set of members. Whereas, as we saw last time with Milani's flashback to Saika, getting into the oceans is something that she, as a little girl, was aspiring to. So the oceans has seemingly had a revolving roster of members, and is like a much more established organization. Which again, as I've kind of been saying, adds to the feeling of the Empire as an actual government, in a way that, say, Alvarez back in Fairy Tail never really did. Anyway, the old oceans were so cool, all rugged and tough. And then Lyra just turns on them, revealing she's been listening in the whole time. Hey now, old men. If you underestimate the younger generation, you'll get hurt. Mehehe. And she has this, like, Ace of Hearts she's playing up to her mouth. Anyway, we now come back to Underground. where Weisz, Rebecca, Happy, and Pino are still traveling. Homura has not either gotten out of the mirror or caught up to them. So it's just the four of them. As Weisz looks around, looks like we lost the fake Homura, but... And Rebecca picks up, we're pretty far from our designated route. And Happy adds, I hope the real Homura is okay. And Pino announces, oh, I'm picking up a life signature. It's Miss Homura. And Mosco just gives a thumbs up. We'll get her back in the ring, because we're friends, Mosco. And Weisz just like snaps it at Mosco, who's still in his Shiki cosplay, by the way. Would you knock it off with a cosplay already? If you don't quit it. And then he freezes, and his eyes get in this sort of concentric circle pattern. And he just panics. I'm gonna be so scared. Eek, please stop. You're scaring me. You're scaring me. And Mosco just looks at him. Mos? And he falls, like he squats. I'm saying head in his hands. I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm scared. And Happy questions Weisz and Pino, what's wrong? And Rebecca, now in tears... This is definitely an ether power, by the way. It's not even subtle. Don't be so scared of him. It's just too sad. And Weisz responds, don't cry. I'm scared, I'm scared, I'm scared, I'm scared. And Mosco, what the duck under is going on? I don't know what duck under is meant to be. Like, that's not really a Shiki thing. It's almost Rebecca's duckies. I don't know. I don't know where that comes from. Happy calls, Rebecca! And then we see someone approaching, footsteps in the darkness. Everything he sees will strike fear in his heart, and everything she sees will fill her with grief. And Happy turns to look at the approaching enemy. Stop it, stop it, stop it! Those are the hypnotic suggestions I gave them. And it's Nasseh. Nasseh? What a shame. Just like that, they're out of commission. Imperial Special Forces Ocean 6, Nasseh. And given the fact the bots aren't affected by this, I think this might be a time for the bots to shine. I kind of think sometimes that we don't really get to see Happy do a whole lot. Most of his actual important moments are spent as like Rebecca's guns. So maybe this will be a big time for like Happy, Pino, and Mosco to like take center stage. Anyway, we cut back to Lyra though. Because the new generation of Oceans, a response to our earlier line back on 14, if you underestimate the younger generation, you'll get hurt. Because the new generation of Oceans are warriors who can make black white and white black. And she plays the Ace of Hearts down, uses her ether gear, which has a spade symbol on her hand, by the way, and it turns into a joker. We have the power to tamper with our enemy's ether. Wait till you get a load of, and she like sends a bunch of Joker cards flying. Empire Ether. You guys can take care of the rest. And she leaves all like the desk soldiers behind as Mr. Rooster calls, where are you going? And she turns back to him with a wink. The show is about to begin. And I want to play too. I am just a punk kid after all. Imperial Special Forces Ocean 6, Lyra. And that is where the chapter ends. Okay, so, this chapter is kind of easily broken up into, I'd say, 3 parts. The first scene with Jinn and Couchpo and Shiki, which is just a really good scene, especially paired with the Gilstark that the anime's got into. Just, you know, how much Jinn and Couchpo have really grown as characters in the past few years. You know, Couchpo is just, like, she knows exactly how to get through to Shiki. And does so without even having to think about it. You know, get Shiki to realize what he's doing is wrong, and you know, gets him to consider others besides the immediate problem, besides saving Witch, and just really in those like 5 pages shows the value she brings to the team. You know, her goal is not really in action. She's not a fighting character, but I mean, she earns the 5 intelligence stars Pino gives her in the profile. And so yeah, Shiki is now going to try to meet up with Team Weisz underground. We'll see when he does that. I'm going to guess it'll be after the Nasseh fight, as I imagine the next few chapters are going to be focused on Nasseh. Nasseh. I don't know. Let me look at his at the wiki, see what his Romanji is. Nasseh. I think it's Nasseh. Anyway, we then see Witch and Shura, which is, it goes a little into what I've kind of complained about as being Eden Zero's sort of BDSM tendencies. But also is really there to just, drive the themes home about, the humanity of bots, really, honestly, perhaps even over-establishing Shura as someone who just does not believe that bots have lives. The constant it feels pain. Though there's an earlier bit, almost like a human, you need to learn not to disobey your human overlords. It's effective. I also kind of feel like it's not doing anything we haven't already seen, so it does kind of feel like it's just there for like titillation, I guess. But it doesn't overstay its welcome too much. It gets the job done. And then we cut to the back half of the chapter, which is focused on Lyra and Nasseh. Both sort of establishing Lyra as not really caring what the older generation thinks of her, but also reestablishing sort of the discomfort some of the common people have towards Shura and his lackeys. So we'll see how all comes of that. I do hope, it's one thing for, one member of the Ocean Six to, secretly be kind of anti-Shura. I hope Lyra and Nasseh and Callum are, just as fucked up as they appear, are just as pro-Shura, just as not caring about other people's lives. Let them just be villains, I guess. And then we have the build-up to the Nasseh fight in the middle of the Lyra section. Which I hope will be a time, again, for characters like Happy and Pino and Mosco to get to take center stage. Maybe we'll see what happens when you press the button? Maybe? But yeah, we have a fight with Nasseh coming. I imagine that will be next week. And Lyra is going to show up there some point. Maybe after the Nasseh fight, maybe during it. Who knows? That could complicate matters, definitely, if it's during. But yeah, all in all, a lot to look forward to here. Some good moments, some not as good moments. And a new fight that will hopefully give our bot friends a real time to shine. And I want to see that really bad. So that's all I gotta say for this chapter. Hope you all enjoyed the chapter and the video itself. If you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe. Do whatever makes you happy, And remember, your life is your own, okay? Bye!